Josie Duggar has been one of the most gregarious and brightest Duggar girls for as long as anyone can remember. Coming from a large, lived in a loving household with lots of care and attention from her brothers, who were close despite their age and differing personalities. The family's Arkansas house was filled with chatter, laughter, and the constant hum of activity. Whether it was for family dinners, celebrations, chores, or homework, Josie had always felt quite comfortable in this vibrant environment. Her contagious humor and inexhaustible energy would frequently mediate a calm ending in moments of sibling conflict. She had a smart mind, a quick wit, and the ability to care deeply for the people in her life, which made her parents, Jim, Bob, and Michelle, as well as her older siblings, very proud of her. However, subtle alterations began to emerge beneath the surface, which were initially almost imperceptible. It became evident that Josie was behaving strangely. In contrast with her former outgoing and always happy nature, she began to withdraw from family events. She became increasingly secretive about her daily activities the more time she spent by herself in her room. The family initially believed that these changes were simply typical teenage moodiness. As one made the often challenging transition from childhood to adolescence, little behavioral changes were to be expected. But over time, the small alterations become more apparent. Her previously boundless energy gradually gave way to exhaustion and emotional detachment. She would often look blankly at the walls or ceiling for extended periods of time, as if lost in thought, and her eyes would hold a sadness that no one in the family had ever seen before. She used to bring laughter to every family gathering, but now it's gone. She was known for her vivacity and energy, although when she did speak, it was generally in a subdued manner. Josie's interest in her studies, which had previously made her happy, began to wane. Because she was turning in incomplete homework and missing deadlines, her teachers started to get in touch with her parents out of concern. Jim, Bob, and Michelle initially attributed their daughter's issues to stress and academic demands, believing their daughter merely needed guidance and comfort. But it soon became clear that something else was happening. As the months went by, Josie's isolation became more noticeable. Her siblings, used to her participation in games, chats, and group projects, noted her absence and the slight changes in her demeanor. As time went on, the family's fear grew. Michelle in particular started to feel very uneasy. She noticed that Josie often skipped or ate her meals by herself, and her once routine personal hygiene routines had become disorganized. Jim Bob, who was also concerned, noticed that his daughter always appeared worn out. She slouched and had a faraway appearance, as though a fog had covered her ordinarily vivacious demeanor. It wasn't until a quiet evening at home that they raised the issue. While Michelle was tidying up Josie's room, she discovered several odd and disturbing empty containers. She presented them to Jim Bob, her heart pounding, and at the same time he felt a variety of emotions, including anger, fear, and helplessness. Neither parent had bargained for the weight of the realization. Their loving and intelligent daughter, Josie, was struggling with an addiction. The idea that she had been hiding this from them for weeks, if not months, was excruciating. In the midst of their anguish and terror, however, the Duggars remained true to their family beliefs as they navigated the crisis. They realized that harshness or revenge would not aid in their daughter's healing. They are trustworthy, they understand the power of kindness to transform the world, and they recognized that, under the direction of their family, they continued. They concluded that it was imperative to confront Josie with love, empathy, and compassion. When they finally spoke to her, it wasn't a confrontation in the traditional sense. It was all about being honest, being vulnerable, and showing each other kind care. They expressed their concerns, shared their views with her, and, above all, made her feel less isolated. Josie was resistant and embarrassed at first, but she soon felt the crushing weight of humiliation and remorse. She began to discuss her issues, the pressure she was under, and the times she had resorted to narcotics for solace after a tense and silent moment. The family listened without condemnation, with compassion and understanding. Every sibling provided a unique contribution, supportive messages, promises of friendship, and confirmations of Josie's unwavering devotion. Understanding the intricacies of addiction, Jim, Bob, and Michelle explained that this was not so much a moral failing as it was a psychological and physical issue. They emphasized the importance of professional assistance and reassured Josie that seeking treatment would not diminish her worth or make her less accepted in the family. After hours of intense discussion, the group ultimately decided on a course of action. Josie would sign up for a rehabilitation course designed to meet her particular medical and psychological needs. As they made the choice, the parents experienced a mixture of terror and relief. They were relieved that they were at last taking tangible action to help their daughter. They were anxious because they expected a challenging road full of unknowns and emotional turmoil. As her departure drew nigh, the family sought to make her last days as comfortable as possible. Making the most of their extra time together, they bonded through quiet laughter and shared experiences. Through words, handcrafted gifts, and other small acts, each sibling demonstrated their love and faith in Josie's resilience. Michelle and Jim Bob actively collaborated with medical professionals to ensure Jose had a seamless transition into rehabilitation and was surrounded by capable, compassionate caregivers. Josie experienced a renewed sense of hope in spite of her anxieties. Being sober wasn't the only reason I went to treatment. It was about putting her life back on course, healing her relationship with her loved ones and herself, and learning how to deal with hardship without losing her identity. She was fully aware of the difficult journey that lay ahead, but it wasn't until her family's unwavering devotion provided her with a foundation of strength that she realized she needed one. Even within the family, this revelation had far-reaching effects. Everybody had to confront their own fears, limitations, and assumptions. Siblings reflected on how, in spite of their best efforts, their interactions might have inadvertently contributed to her loneliness. After learning that even in a loving home, small expectations and demands can have a significant influence on a child's mental and emotional well-being, Jim, Bob, and Michelle reassessed their parenting approaches. The role of close friends and extended family members was vital as well, providing prayers, guidance, and support. The Duggars resorted to their close-knit community for support and consolation during difficult times. In these cases, the importance of open communication, comprehension, and initiative was evident. Jose's departure to recuperation was marked by a type of mournful ceremony. Nothing ostentatious, just sincere embraces, encouraging words, and a promise to stay in touch via letters, phone conversations, and in-person meetings. When she left home, the air was tinged with both hope and melancholy. Despite my sorrow for the struggles she had endured in the time she had been away from her immediate family, I hoped she would find healing, progress, and self-discovery. Part 1 of this tale is loaded with fear and emotion, but it sets the stage for Part 2, which is about overcoming adversity, finding love at home, and the life-changing impact of community. Josie Duggar, who had previously cloaked herself in hardship and silence, was guided along a path that gave renewal by the steadfast support of her loved ones. Josie's first few days at the rehab were too much for him to take. She was anxious as soon as she entered the clinical, frigid room. She had no idea what to anticipate from the strict routine, and she was surrounded by strangers, all of whom appeared to be well-meaning but entirely unfamiliar. Every square inch of the facility was a reminder that she had left the security of her family home and entered a space that was only meant to help her confront her darkest secrets. The strict but essential procedures were meant to instill discipline and organization. Initially, every day, including mornings, meal preparation, guided therapy, group therapy, and meditation. Every day, there were numerous activities that promoted emotional intelligence, healing, and concentration. Josie had a hard time adjusting at first. The intensity of the withdrawal symptoms had surprised her. It was fatigue, irritation, and moments of despair that tested perseverance. A difficult night's sleep was caused by the detox and the new exercise regimen. Mental fog clouded her judgment, making even the easiest chores seem overwhelming. She questioned if she could finish the program and felt guilty about being here for a while.